How is that being a stay-at-home mom? Was that always a dream?
It's going great. I mean, I'm living the dream, spending time with my little girl, and I love hanging out with her every day,
Mhm.
seeing her grow. It's always been a dream of mine, and I'm so happy and grateful that I get to live that now.
Because I've heard rumors about you using Uber or something to use
I use Doordash when I don't
DoorDash.
have a realtor representing me. In the notes section, I have like, here's a picture of the property, here's a picture of the driveway of the property. I want you to put a sign on this tree or at this spot in the yard, have my phone number, and I buy the sign. And then they do the work and I tip them extra money.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Ron Apke, joined by Shelby Wengreen. She was on a podcast about a year ago. Welcome, Shelby. We just wanted to get an update on everything. How's everything going?
It's going great. Thanks again for having me, Ron.
Yeah, so I think the last time we talked, Shelby, like I said, about a year ago, you were closing or getting close to closing a huge deal. First, when did you start land before we get into that deal and how that went?
Yeah, I started land. I actually looked this up just before joining today. I joined June 15th of 2022, and I sent my first mailer sometime that September.
Wow. Okay, so you're already two years in?
Yeah, 2 years
Right.
in. It's crazy to
I,
think.
I would not. I would have said 2023. Honestly, I would not have known that, to be honest, if you asked me.
I know.
But yeah, last time we got off, you were talking about a big deal you were closing. I don't remember the exact location. We don't have to get into that. But I believe it was a partial subdivide or something like that.
Mhm.
Let's just touch base right where you were. If you guys have not watched her first interview, go to that first. If you want to see where she was a year ago, it's a really good interview. But let's get into that deal that you were doing, that big deal. What came out of that?
Yeah, so we ended up selling the parcel. I believe we listed it sometime early October. And then we ended up selling them both late October. We went under contract on both of them. We made about 300K, I think, is what our net was on that deal. And after that, I decided to quit my job and I had a daughter. So now I'm a stay-at-home mom, just what I wanted last episode.
Stay-at-home mom, land investor. I love it.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So go into that deal a little more. So how did you acquire? Was that via direct mail? Was that text? And was that something else? How did you get that deal? How many acres was it? What did you buy it for?
Yeah, it was, I got it through direct mail. It was part of a property that was half in one county, half in another county. So I subdivided it off into only one county, and the other parcel had like a house on it. It was a pretty big piece of land. We ended up buying 33 acres out of the total 100 plus acres. And we subdivided it. The county had weird rules. You could only make one division. So the one division from the original didn't count. And then we made a second division. I believe we bought it for 165,000 and then we sold both for a little bit over 400.
My goodness. Yeah, that turned
Yeah.
out pretty well for you. That is
Yeah.
awesome. So that was like a survey hack, right?
Yeah, it was.
Without
Before
even
we
without
coined the term.
Before
Yeah.
we coined the term survey hack, that was a survey hack. That's really cool. And then you just did a minor subdivide, 2 16-acre parcels or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 15 and 17, something like that.
Wow. And it's so weird how it is overlapping on two counties. I remember reviewing that deal pretty vividly. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, honestly. Like, why did they do this? And I don't know how that even happens, honestly. Do you have any idea, like, or did they just combine them? What happened there?
Yeah, I think it's weird. It happens a handful of times. The parcel is actually one full parcel, but because it's in two separate counties, each county assesses it at different values, and they have to pay taxes in both of the counties. I've only seen it happen one other time, but
Yeah.
it's kind of weird.
I'm sure it's more common, but I just don't. We're just running into one of those is pretty crazy. But that obviously worked out well for you. So you decided to quit your job. Was that something you always had a goal? So you started June of 2022. When did you quit your job? I'm sure you kind of know the date. Do you know the date?
Yeah, I quit my job August of 2023, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 13, 14 months in land or so. Was that always a
Mhm.
goal coming in land investing, or was that something like, okay, I have a $300,000 deal? And you were in pretty corporate-y America, right? Like, it's not like you were had a non-corporate type job. But yeah,
Yeah.
talk about quitting your job. What was the mindset behind that? Was it difficult?
Yeah, yeah. So I actually went into real estate wanting to quit my job. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. Initially, I planned on flipping houses or maybe doing a few investment properties like house hack hopping. I was part of another group, and they were kind of teaching all sorts of different real estate strategies with short-term rentals and stuff. And then you kind of pick one and dive in. And none of them were really sitting right with me. I just couldn't figure it out. So I went to my uncle and he told me that he'd give me money or help me with in my investing strategies if I were to invest in land because he wasn't super interested at the time in investing in homes. So I looked you up. I just actually typed in land investing on podcasts and started
Yeah.
listening, found you guys, and I said, this is how I'm going to quit my job because I can get all the money. It happens more regularly. It's less of an investment to where I felt like I could invest some of my own money rather than needing my uncle's. But obviously, as I grow, I needed more money. So now I use all sorts of different kinds of money. But
And
yeah.
is Chase still, are you still partnered with Chase?
Yes, I still partner with Chase.
And is
He's
he your
my
cousin or step or brother-in-law?
yes, brother-in-law. He's my
Brother-in-law.
brother-in-law.
I was gonna keep guessing till I got it right, I think. Uh, um, you when you started, and we did some coaching with you. You when you started, you had to work on sales, and I think you were very self aware that sales was something that, as far as negotiating with sellers, all these things, you remind me of in terms Michael in terms of like how
Mhm.
much he worked on it. Like you really, really worked on it. It was a huge focus, and you were self aware that sales was something that you needed to work on to really make this business as well good as it can be. Talk about that experience and like how have you progressed?
Yeah, for sure. So my brother-in-law, bringing him on was a huge point in helping my sales. He's a lot better at sales than I am. But I still personally make a few sales calls every now and then. Chase just had a baby as well, so I stepped in for him for a little bit while he was gone, and made a few sales calls. And really, what it just comes down to for me is I'm not an in-your-face salesperson. I've never have been. I'm not really great at it. But my pro was connecting with people, getting to know them, building that personal relationship, and really just being level with them and saying, like, listen, this is what I can do, and here's the value point of me and my business. You're speaking with the owner. This is what I'm promising you. I've done this for a handful of people before. I can do it for you. And I really aim to make it as easy as we agree, you get that amount at closing, and then you never have to think about this property ever again.
So is it something, did you do any education on sales or was it just like reps? Like what did your progression look like in sales?
Yeah, it was mostly just reps. I did come from corporate America where I did a little bit of sales, but it was more so sales as more of a service. Like I was always selling a
Mhm.
service, selling something that I believed in. And so I feel like a big part of what helped me sell land investing and helping people sell their land to me and selling myself was realizing what am I selling? Who is my audience? And what do I need out of this? And then really saying, what's my value proposition to them? And when you think about it in terms of you can be the answer to somebody's prayer that they're wanting to get some money and they don't need this anymore, you can really help people through this business. And I feel like when I realized that and that it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, it was really easy for me to sell that.
Yeah, sell to people who want to be sold. I just did an interview with Chad A. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but Chad, he's only 4 months in or something, and he talks very similar about sales. He has more of a sales background than you, but as far as
Mhm.
relationship building, like he is 100%. Like he's not in your face, and it works. Like it works for both
Yeah.
you guys really, really well. Um, Let's get into the last year, I guess, Shelby. It's been a year, 14
Yeah.
months since we talked in terms of on a podcast. How have you changed your business? Have you pivoted to different marketing strategy? What does that look like today?
Yeah, so we have changed a little bit. We decided that we want to start with cold calling. I feel like the biggest change that that's made for us is having an abundance in our leads and not feeling like we have to squeeze to make something work. Definitely, direct mail still provides the best quality leads and the most motivated sellers, but it does help us to not struggle to force a deal or make that happen. And it also gets you the reps, which I really like.
So Are you doing 100% cold calling? Is that what your business? How long have you been doing that for? And I know it's not
We've
you.
been
You hired a company. Yeah.
yeah, we hired a company. But I've had them doing it for, I think this is like the second going on third month that
Hmm.
we've had them doing it, and we're mailing them after we call them. So we use the call and we remove anyone who expressed no interest on the call, called people who did express some interest on the call, and then the rest of the people who we didn't reach or anything like that, we mail them, and we send them a blind offer after that.
Do you have enough data right now about success rate? What's that kind of looking like? I know you talked about a lot of leads. I'm sure some leads are better than others, obviously,
Yeah.
with something like that. But talk about kind of what the response rate has been like. What's your success rate with that?
Yeah, so far I don't think I have enough data to say whether it's better or not
Yeah.
in terms of what that looks like. It's more so just like me, I feel way less pressure to force a deal to work if it's not going to work. But we have had some people express interest. I have noticed that we might need to implement some texting follow up
Yeah.
because we have a lot of follow up we need to make now to keep on top of these and still maintain that relationship.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I was talking to, I was on Launch Control's podcast today, and I was talking to them over there, and like, they're not against mail or they're not against cold calling. They're just into like tech and texting. And Launch Control is a texting platform, for everyone listening. But they're just into like, it's a marketing business. This is a marketing business and touching people in different ways in terms of mail, or mail, texting, cold calling, email, whatever it is. Like, you need to try to find a way to get people on the phone. And it seems like that's what cold calling has done for you. It's given you, like you said, an abundance of leads. And I think that'll work out really well. Have you looked in, like, what's kind of are you gonna start texting, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I haven't started texting yet, but I do think we're going to start it just because we have so many of these deals that we're getting. Well, I
Yeah.
guess leads that we're getting that come in from cold calling. And we're going through them. They seem great, just now might not be the right time. And I think if we keep using different touch points to just stay top of mind for them, we'll have a handful that will come around and we'll end up doing a deal with in the future.
So your thought process with implementing texting is more people like using it for the leads that respond.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I like that a lot. So yeah, well, you're a mom now. How's that life as far as being a I know it's nap time right now, so that's why you could
Yeah.
hop on and talk to me. I know
Yeah.
it's nap time. So how is that being a stay-at-home mom? Was that always a dream? I remember talking to you like a couple years ago, and like I remember you being passionate about that.
Yeah.
How's that life going?
It's going great. I mean, I'm living the dream. I may not be rich in monetary things as of right now, but I'm pretty rich in time and spending time with my little girl. And I love hanging out with her every day, going on walks,
Mhm.
seeing her grow. It's always been a dream of mine. And I'm so happy and grateful that I get to live that now.
Yeah, and at Land Investing Online, I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was just it was someone like talking about our mission at Land Investing Online, just being providing freedom. And everyone kind of looks at that like freedom is so different for different people. Some people it is monetary, like they want to be rich as crap. Other people, it's like they want to have time with their family. They want to be able to, like you said, go on walks, travel, whatever it is. And it sounds like you've kind of found that, and that's really cool to see as far as like what that's brought you. What how have you seen? So you're 2 years in, and
Hmm.
it's not like you're brand new by any means. Like we started teaching 2.5 years ago. So like you're
Yeah.
one of our first students. I had no clue, honestly. But what what have you seen change in this business model? Obviously, a lot of people join, a lot of people leave. What have you
Mhm.
seen change in this business model over the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think it's really boiled down to like strategy and people being creative and finding new ways to do things. And I think if you're creative and you're always trying new things, obviously don't get rid of something that works. If it works, keep it because it will keep your deal flow and your pipeline going. But don't be afraid to try new things and see if something sticks. The only reason we ended up getting that big deal is because in a coaching call with you, you said, you should try out this new area, and we tried it out and look what it got us. So it never hurts to try new things and expand in that way.
Yeah, for sure. And I like what you said as far as creativity, like being creative with marketing strategies, being creative even with how you're selling properties. Like if you're not trying, have you double closed at all? I was gonna say if you're not trying double closing at all, like you've double closed some, right?
I've tried, yeah. I've had a handful. They never seem to work out for me,
Yeah.
and it's really hard in the state of Kentucky, I guess. Like no
Yeah.
flat rate services want to post them or anything. But yeah, I've tried. It's hasn't worked out yet, but it doesn't mean that I don't try to get get a deal out of it.
I think I got burned on one in Kentucky one time. I don't remember the exact details, but I do recall that for sure. What's kind of next for you, Shelby? Like you're 2 years in, like we've said a few times, obviously. What's next for you in your business? Like what goals did you have for 2024? Are you hitting those goals? Let's first talk about that, and then we can talk about 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, so 2024, we had some big goals heading into 2024, and then I had a baby, Chase had a baby, things happened, so we kind of pivoted from what our original goals were, and we focused on this year to make it a growing year. So we have hired someone to help us with pricing. We've hired a VA, which was the best thing we ever did. I had no idea why we waited so long to hire a VA. We did a lot of stuff to make it to where our end goal is to have free time and spend time with our families. That really is what this company boils down to for us. And we've really spent this year systematizing everything. Everything has a system. Nothing falls through the cracks that way. It's really easy to teach a VA to do pretty much anything if you have a system for it. So that's kind of what our goal has been for this year, post start of the year and figuring out babies and all that crazy stuff. And next year, I'm really hoping that we can figure out what strategies have worked for us. This year, we've kind of taken a blanket approach and we've tried like, let's just mill everything 1,000 acres and see what sticks. And
Mhm.
next year, we're going to focus on those properties like that we got a really good return from, that we liked working with, and really narrowing down our buy box, getting super laser focused and becoming specialized in those areas.
I like that strategy a lot, and you'll be more efficient with your time too. As far it sounds like with VAs and with the help that you have, you've already become much more efficient with your time. And
Yeah.
then as you narrow down, like you're only spending time on deals that you know can work. Essentially, is that going to be project based deals? What is that? What does that look like to you? You don't have to be as too specific if you don't want.
Yeah. We're going to do some project-based surveying, survey hacking, and subdivide stuff, as well as we like to do some of those smaller parcels that maybe don't get a ton of love from realtors,
Mm.
and we just buy them at a really discounted price. And most of the time, we can sell them on Facebook Marketplace in a couple of weeks. So you don't lose out on realtor fees on both ends of the transaction. They sell fast, and we like those. So.
It's a good, yeah. I mean, adding $10,000, like easily $10,000 a month, I think you can do with those little buy for 8, sell for 18, whatever it is. No realtor's taking those on either side of it, 18,000
Yeah.
or 8, or very, very few, I guess.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm excited for that. So someone getting into this business right now, I know probably haven't been as involved in the community, I'm sure, since having a baby
Mhm.
and everything. But as far as like, what advice would you give someone starting in this business right now?
Yeah, I tell them to make a system for everything. Think of your future when you're starting this business. I mean, there comes a point where you just want to get something done. Like when I first joined the community, I did everything by the book. I followed literally step by step everything that you had in the course, and I made money that way. You definitely can make money that way. But where I started to make real good money is when I started stepping outside of the box and trying things that I knew that I had experience from, maybe my advertising experience when I was at Pinterest or at an influencer agency, and really just kind of like leaning into my marketing mindset and thinking, how can I make this better for people? What is the value of working with me? What am I actually doing rather than just going through the motions and making reps? So I'd say one, get systems in place and think about your future when you're doing that so that it's easier for you down the road. And two, be creative and think outside of the box. I mean, obviously, anybody can go look up my website, they can look up your website, and they can copy what we do to a T, but they can't copy that personal relationship. So,
For sure. I like it's building a business, guys. It's not like you're just building and trying to get one deal. Like this isn't like that kind of
mhm.
hustle where you're just like trying to get a deal and then the next deal. Like if you actually build a legitimate business, like Shelby is taking so much time off her plate by building systems, by building all that stuff. And then she's building her not skip tracing, her skill set around what she's good at and building her business around what she's good at. Talk about selling properties because I've heard rumors about you using Uber or something to use. I don't remember what it is to put signs on properties. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I use Doordash when I don't have
DoorDash.
a realtor representing me. Normally, it's only happened a handful of times where I'm too far out in the country to where nobody will Doordash to the area. But I just pick a nearby address, and in the notes section, I have like, hey, this actually isn't the address. Here's a picture of the property. Here's a picture of the driveway of the property. I want you to put a sign on this tree or at this spot in the yard, have my phone number. And if you take a picture back and send it all, and I like where it is, I'll tip you 10, 15, $20.
Hmm.
And that's been a creative way that I've sold properties.
So where do you get the signs from?
Like Tractor Supply Co. is a big one, actually. Office Max or whatever, just anywhere that has yard signs.
So
They
you
normally
have
have a
them
for sale sign.
you have them make them, or oh, so you have them pick them up, write your name and phone number, and then you don't have to do anything. There's no like
Yeah.
custom design.
Yeah, no custom design. I just have them pick up a regular old for sale sign, write my number. I normally buy the Sharpie, uh,
Hmm.
and so that I know that they'll use a Sharpie and not just a
Yeah.
pencil. I buy the Sharpie, I buy the yardsticks or like tape or whatever I want to use to hang the sign, and I buy the sign, and then they do the work, and I tip them extra money.
Wonder what the DoorDash executives think when they see your history on DoorDash. Like, what is she doing? But
Yeah.
it's really creative as far as doing that. I remember hearing that probably a year ago, probably even more than that, honestly. What's your success rate look like with selling properties like that?
Yeah, I think I've done it with I don't know, 5 or 6 properties. And I've sold at least half of them to neighbors or random people that drove by and just saw that it was for sale. It was basically like a neighbor letter before we had single skip trace. And sometimes even like if a single skip trace doesn't work or give me an accurate number, I'll still throw a sign out there and it might work.
Yeah.
So it's really just reaching people in different ways.
Yeah, neighbors a lot of times are like, there's so many people. Some of these roads, like if you're on a dead end road or a cul-de-sac or something, probably not going to work that well with a sign. But if you're on a
Yeah.
county road or something like that, and you have thousands of cars every day passing, like there's a good chance someone's going to be interested. How many calls do you get? Is it crazy? Because you don't have a price on there, right?
Yeah, I don't have a price on there. I do get a handful of calls, and I just have them route to a different number, and it's a sales number, so I know that when they're calling about a property purchase on
Mm.
their side. So I always try to make sure and answer, and if I don't answer, that I know to call them back. Um, yeah, it just helps me in that way.
That makes a lot of sense. I know we talked about kind of advice, someone getting in. Like, where do you see the business going the next 3 to 5 years? The business model as a whole. Do you think it's going to get to more project, but not necessarily your business, project-based things? How do you see the future of land? And when I was talking to Chad before, there's so much opportunity as far as like different strategies. But interested to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be more competitive if you're going to do like the bare bones land flipping. It already has been over the past 2 years
Hmm.
that I've been doing it. But I do still think that there will be plenty of ways to make money if you're specialized in a few areas and you really kind of hone into that and dive deep. I also think a reason I love being a part of your course that I know other courses don't offer is they teach the same thing and they have been teaching the same thing for 10 years. Your course is always changing. You're always saying, hey, here's a new way to make money. You guys are telling me you don't have enough money or deal funding's not working out. Well, why don't you try double closing? You're always trying new things to help people make money and be scrappy if they need to be. So I think sticking around and really just being creative will help you make money in the long run.
Yeah, I think that it's so important. Things change so much, and like if you just try to
Mhm.
do the things that worked, internet was hardly a thing 20 years ago. Like it's just things change so fast, and you're trying to teach something from 5 years ago or whatever. Like it does become more competitive. And what's going to be your competitive advantage when it gets more competitive? Anything to add, Shelby? Anything that people need to know out there that you're doing or that you think they should be doing? Anything else to add? I'm curious. Obviously, we have two great podcasts now with you. Really appreciate you coming on. Anything else you need to add?
Yeah, no, I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, if anybody has any questions, I'm in the community. I still am there. I may not be on all the calls because I have a little one running my life now. But I'm happy to help you answer questions, connect. I love meeting new people in the community because I was there. I know what it's like. I know what it's like wanting to get out of that 9 to 5 job. And even though I may not be making ton of money a year. I'm making enough to live comfortably and have as much time with my family that I want. And that's really the dream for me.
Someone, shoot, I wish I knew exactly who asked me. Someone asked me 2 days ago, someone asked me, like, tell me about a good success story. And you were the first one that came to mind. And I knew it wasn't like, you're not the person that's making the most money by any means, but just like you seem so happy as far as and content with what you're doing, what you are being able to raise your daughter. Yeah, everyone's success looks 100% different. I know you're going to have a huge 2025. So really excited to see that. Thank you so much for coming on. If you guys are watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button below, hit the like button, share this on Spotify, Apple, leave us a review. Thank you so much, Shelby, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
As always, thank you for joining. Please do us a huge favor and like and subscribe our YouTube channel and share this with a friend. It really means the world to Ron and I, but more importantly, it could help change the life of someone else. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next episode.